In today's episode of Flake the Table, we are joined by Kirstie Di Stazio, co-founder and chief commercial officer of Albaray, a hugely talented commercial leader and brand builder with a reputation for leading with integrity, transparency, and honesty. Developing successful commercial strategies while building and nurturing teams is Kirstie's true passion, and which is why, above all else, working with like-minded people and partners is fundamental to her long-term strategy for the brand. And I'm such a fan of Albaray Close. I can't wait to hear how this whole idea came about.
So before Albaray, Kirstie was a key player in the M&S leadership team for 21 years. We could talk about the fact that you do not look old enough in a minute, working across lots of different areas of the business, and then went on to be commercial director of Warehouse, which we will touch on, as I think Rosie and I were both massive fans of Warehouse. You've got a big commercial vision for Albaray, and it's obviously a brand that we stock and are very proud to stock, and an ambition underpinned by a shared goal to create a new, fair and progressive brand. I hear that you live in the Cotswolds, which sounds lovely, although today you're in Bethnal Green, so quite a contrast, and have 2 children and a husband and really enjoy living the country life, which I suspect actually is a wonderful antidote to when you're in central London. So very welcome, and it's wonderful to be talking to you today.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to take part today.
The first question we ask everyone is, you've obviously have had an amazing career and there'll have been lots of, I'm sure, highs and lows. But when is the first time you felt you kind of shook the table at the workplace where, you thought, no, I'm going to not do this or do this and kind of make my mark?
Well, I think even before my career started, I think I probably shook the table when I decided actually to leave Wales, which is where I'm from, and leave working for the family business. So my parents ran small businesses where I'm from. And I think there was an expectation that I would work in that business. And I did for many years and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I made the decision to not work in the family business and to leave and to go and follow a different direction of travel, which ultimately led me to M&S and the early part of my career. So I think that was a little bit unexpected for both my families. I probably shook their table, if I'm honest, and mine to a degree, to decide to do something different to what I think was expected. So, and I think from a work perspective, probably the most seminal moment for me shaking the table was when I had come back from one of my maternities and was offered the opportunity to do something different. I joined the leadership team to take over the running of Puruna, which at the time was based in the Cotswolds. So to take over the running of Puruna from the founding family. And that was a real seminal moment for me, where I stepped out from being a merchandiser to a really broad role, totally out of my comfort zone, managing many areas of the business, from international to finance to HR to operations. And I was so out of my comfort zone, but it actually led me to where I am today. I would never be doing what I'm doing today if I hadn't had that moment, which ultimately led me to doing Albaray and creating Albaray. If I hadn't had that experience or taken that plunge at that point, undoubtedly I don't think I'd be doing what I am today.
So, Kirstie, I'm really interested in the journey of Albaray, and you are a co-founder, aren't you?
That's correct, yeah.
Tell us a bit about the relationship with your co-founder.
So I've been working in fashion for over 25 years. Like I say, a lot of that time at Marks & Spencer and then subsequently at Warehouse. And I'd met some amazing people on that journey and learned so much from people that I'd worked with. But in my last role working at Warehouse, I met 2 very like-minded people who I believe shared the same values and beliefs as me. And that was Paula and Karen, who became the co-founders. So there's 3 of us in total working together. And we just had a moment where we thought we wanted to create a brand, a new clothing brand based on stylish clothes, sustainably sourced, accessible to our customers from a price point perspective, and a brand that would help us support social values too. So we had these discussions and thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we could do something and start something completely from scratch? We loved working together. We really liked each other, which I think is a really big plus when you're working with people, because it's quite an intense process setting up a new brand. It's not easy. But, we felt we had the complementary skills to be able to work together to build something new and start something afresh. And that's what we did.
What are the complementary skills that the three of you bring?
Well, I'm from a merchandising background. So that was what I did. That was my sort of early trade, if you like, my training at Marks and Spencer. Karen had come from a design background, and Paula originally had been from a buying background. So we formed a really nice little buying team, to be able to actually build a brand and create a brand. I think we were a little naive maybe at the start to think that that's what building a brand was all about. And we learned very quickly that starting a new brand is so much more than that, building something completely from scratch. So we learned a totally new set of skills working together and creating this brand that we'd never done before, that probably teams of people in our, big jobs that we'd had before were doing. And suddenly we found ourselves right down in the detail, doing it all ourselves, which was an amazing, amazing learning curve. But, doing it with people that you like and you respect has been critical to this whole thing, because there are real pressure points at times, and being able to work with people that you can be yourself and it's a safe space, you can say what you think and you've got each other's backs, has been a really important part of this journey for us.
You talked about the big learning curve there. What would you say was the biggest challenge? So if another founder is listening to this, what is the thing perhaps that you would pass on?
Well, I think setting something completely from scratch, it sounds really bizarre, but, we found ourselves just at the table about, setting up bank accounts, or, how do we get our first delivery on a ship from China? How do you generate a barcode? They sound all very, very simple things that you would have teams of people doing in your business, but we'd never done that. So, there was a lot of detail that we needed to get into to get this off the ground. And the one thing that struck me when we were doing it is that there were often days that we were, we really just don't know how to do this. So we lent a lot on people and friends and contacts in the industry to support us. We would phone people and say, I've got no idea what I'm doing on this. Can you advise? And we were totally overwhelmed by the amount of support that we had from people who gave us their time and their energy, because they genuinely wanted us to do well. And we were really touched by that. And we try as much as possible to pay that forward. So we work with a lot of people starting up brands, offering advice, telling them, no, definitely don't do that, but actually do this, because people did it for us. And I think that was really special for us at the time, that people would give us their time and support for nothing.
That's
really
a good tip, isn't it? 'Cause you have to
yeah.
wear so many different hats. I mean, talking about, getting things on boats from China, all of these areas that you've never done before. So don't be afraid to reach out to those that can help you. It's a really great tip, I think.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you've talked quite a lot, I think, Kirstie, and something I'm aware of, because sustainability is part of my remit here at M&S, about wanting to build a more sustainable brand, and how it's obviously been an amazing process and very fast and constant learning.
Yeah.
How has that evolved over time, and how have you managed to build that in as you've scaled the business?
Yeah, I think we were very passionate right from the start about creating a very thoughtful, environmentally conscious brand without compromising on style. And also making it very accessible from a price point perspective, because there are many brands out there, but some of them are just really unaffordable. So we needed to hit all of those points really. And we wanted to connect with women who love clothes shopping, but were really starting to think about the impact on the planet. So people were becoming much more conscious of it. So what was amazing for us that we had the chance here to have a blank piece of paper, and to build it the way that we wanted to build it, with sustainability at the heart of everything that we do. And, and that was amazing, because we could set our standards, we could work with suppliers and partners that actually believed in the same approach as us. And actually, it was much easier being able to start afresh with your sustainability values than it is taking a brand and trying to turn it into a sustainable brand. that means you're trying to change the positioning of that brand, which is incredibly difficult. So, it was actually much easier for us to do that, and to start from scratch and really be able to build those values of sustainability into our brand so they become inherent, because we believe that all brands, it's the right thing to do now, is that, being sustainable, being responsible, as we like to call it, isn't a gimmick. It isn't a marketing tool. It's actually the right thing to do. And therefore that should be built and inherent in your brand. But it's not easy, because being sustainable is costly. It is more expensive to operate in a sustainable world. And hopefully that will change as it becomes more of the norm going forward. So, undoubtedly for a small brand like us with small volumes and working with suppliers in a very small way, it is pretty challenging being able to achieve it all. But I think, again, working with partners that are on the same page as you, wanting to also do the right thing, has been incredible for us. And we had partnerships built up over many, many years from our previous businesses that we tapped into and supported us on this journey.
How old are your children?
My children are 18 and 17.
Wow. So have you just done A-levels and you're going to do it again?
Yes, exactly. So I've done all the university, the round of the universities, first time for my son, and I'm doing them again for my daughter, because there's only 6 between them. So yeah, I'm this time next year I'll be right in the heart of empty nest syndrome, I'm sure. So.
You will. And how have you managed? Because obviously you've scaled Albaray almost at the same time as they've gone through their teenage years, which is obviously quite a big thing in itself. How have you managed that?
It's undoubtedly challenging, and I think I've always had a career, particularly when I was at M&S, in quite senior positions in M&S. So it's been very much the norm for them that I have worked, but it's undoubtedly challenging at times. When you've got young children, you have to make choices and you're making decisions. So I would be lying if I said it was easy juggling everything at the same time. But they have been, an amazing support, and they love what I'm doing now, and they get very excited about everything that we're doing. So, it's, you just have to do it very honestly. I've got an amazing husband, Mick, who supports me. He's got a big job as well, but he is there to support and pick up the slack whenever I can. And, I've got 2 very forgiving children who, know that I'm trying my best and can't always do it all, So, they're great support.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed? And what do you do to pull yourself back when that feeling takes hold? I think we're all nodding related to that.
Definitely feel overwhelmed at times. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and there are times, particularly setting up a business, where you're under, quite a lot of pressure. So I think, that, as I say, having the support at home is amazing, but also having the support with the other 2 co-founders who have been incredible. And, we all have our moments and we all have our pinch points where we're head in hands. And I think being able to work with 2 amazing women who any one of us at any time can go, enough, I'm really struggling today and I need to take a breather, or can you, just offload some work to be able to support each other. And I think that's the beauty of the 3 of us. Obviously we've got a team as well, but, being able to have that safe space to go, today's not a good day, is really, really helpful. And we support each other. We will always say we've all had our moments on this journey, and we support each other in those moments. And we come out the other end and go, oh, what was all the fuss about? But, it's very easy to become overwhelmed. There's a lot that goes into it.
And are you good at being boundaried, sort of between work time and personal time, family time? Do you have proper holidays where you switch everything off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Yeah. I do, yeah. I think what was really important to us, having all come from more corporate jobs, is that when we set up Albaray, we felt very passionately that this needed to be different for us personally, for our teams, to be able to do something incredible, but also be able to have a life and a good quality of life. Because, quite frankly, through this 25 years, we've got all 3 of us been working in the industry. there's been compromises and there's been really challenging times, and we wanted this to be different. So, when we set up Albaray, we didn't meet face to face for 6 months. We were in the middle of lockdown.
Yeah, of course.
So we did the whole thing over Teams, and we therefore realized very quickly that actually there is another way. We can have us and our teams working flexibly, working remotely, because we did it. So I think what's really, really important to us is that the experiences that we've had over our career gives us a drive to make sure that people working in our team can have the opportunities and still have a great life and not have to compromise as much as maybe we had done during our careers. So, our teams work around childcare, they work around other things that they've got going on in their lives. And I'm really proud that actually enable that through our business.
You touched on it a bit there, but do you feel you're almost paying something for it? I mean, the lovely thing I think is hearing through it, you talk about your two fellow co-founders and saying, because you've been together for how long now? A few years.
Well, we've launched 3 years ago, but obviously we were working on it before that. And the three of us worked at Warehouse together. So, we know each other, and I'd known Karen actually from M&S previously. So we've been working together probably about seven years together. So yeah, we know each other very well.
So that's an amazing thing to have started a business, which is obviously very stressful, and to still now almost smile when you talk about your co-founders and actually, say it's been an amazing thing. Do you think it makes a difference that you're three females leading the business, and that there's a way that you can now pay forward what you almost had to not endure, but experience, and then actually change it for young women now?
Definitely. It's really important to us that we can offer those opportunities for people. And some of our team is spread right the way across the country. From Glastonbury to Leeds. They're all over the place, and some have children and some don't. But some have other things that they do, other interests that they pursue outside of work. So we have anybody from working on 1 day a week or 2 days a week to flexible working hours within the day. And we're really open to that, because I think our experiences as three women working in industry for all these years is that it was tough at times to be, there wasn't a working from home or remote working mentality when I was sort of working many years ago. So for us, it's really important that we can offer not just women, we're not exclusively women. We do have some men in the team, but actually we can offer those opportunities because we can. And we've got the power to be able to do that and set our own culture, which for us is about giving people opportunity to thrive and be themselves in the workplace, and to be able to say what they think and to have a voice at the table, and to be, equally a part of this. And I think our team feel a part of this. I think they feel as passionate and motivated about this brand as we do. They will call it their own brand, So, yeah, I'm really delighted that we've been able to do that as part of this journey.
I mean, it sounds like you have got a really great company culture. What is at the heart of motivating your team? Do you think it is that flexibility, or what other components are part of your culture?
Yeah, I mean, the flexibility and the remote work, all of that is really important. Yeah. But also I think it's about listening to their views. We've got no hierarchy in this business. I know it sounds a bit ideal, but there is, obviously we as founders have our roles, but we will sit around the table and everybody has got a view and everybody can say what they think. Anybody, no matter what their job is in this business, can come up with an idea. And the beauty of being our own business is that we can try things. Yeah. So somebody will come up with an idea and we'll try it and then we'll go, oh God, that didn't work. Quick, turn it off. So that is, I think that makes people feel empowered. I think it makes them feel as though they have a part to play and they have a voice. And I hope that they feel motivated by that. I mean, they appear to be. But I think there's also something pretty special about celebrating the wins and making sure we're celebrating with the team and everybody feels very included in what we're doing.
I mean, it sounds like a brilliant place to work. And being a founder, I think is very stressful. There's so much kind of joy in your kind of whole demeanor and you're talking about it. But if you look back to when things have felt really tough, what stands out for you as some of those really difficult moments, whether at Albaray or before?
I think nothing is easy, is it? It's always a bit up and down, whatever's happening, whether that's, that trade is tough or you have to make some tough decisions. And I think the important thing is that I like to hold my values dear, which is about being honest and holding integrity very close. And I think it's about being honest about when things are tough and what you might need to do, or if you're having to make, really challenging decisions. And I think we just take the approach that we have to be really honest, really communicate to make sure that nobody is kept in the dark about anything and that everybody's on the journey with us, whether it's good or bad. And I think that's the approach that I've sort of taken throughout my career, really, is just try and share, try and communicate, try to come up with solutions to resolving any challenges that come along, and actually to get other people's views. Because often if you're in difficult situations, you need to make difficult decisions, bringing people into that and having conversations again, what do you think and what thoughts have you got? You can often find better solutions.
It sounds like a very, very collaborative style.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is. And I think actually looking at our personalities, myself, Paul and Karen, I think we've always worked very collaboratively. I think that's probably why we gel together and we're able to work together so well. Yeah.
Now, you're clearly an inspirational leader, but who inspires you as a leader?
Well, as I said, I've had the privilege of working with so many incredible leaders over the time, whether that's my 21 years at M&S or latterly at Warehouse. And I've met some amazing people and actually some of those leaders have become mentors and have really helped me, even on this latter journey of my career. But actually, when I look back at it, I think my first inspirational leader was probably my father, if I'm honest. We worked in, as I said, small family business, and I worked in there from a child right the way up through to my early adulthood. And I used to watch him and his work ethic. He worked incredibly hard. He put everything into it. But he was a very honest man and a very, integrity was so important to him. And I used to watch him and how he treated people, and whether it was people that were working in his business or customers, and he treated everybody with respect. And that hit me I recognized that from a very early age. And I think I can feel I've tried to do this, emulate him through this journey of my own career, because he was like a role model to me, watching how he managed a business. And I really tried to take those values with me. I also think my husband he's got a great job and he's a great leader. And I watch him sometimes and how easy he makes it look. And I hear him, that's the beauty when you're working from home. I can hear him on calls and I hear how, and actually I really admire how he manages things and how he helps people. And actually he's been a massive help for me. I honestly am not sure I'd be doing what I'm doing if he hadn't encouraged me and had self-belief in me when at a time maybe I didn't always have self-belief. He told me I could do this at times when I thought, not sure I can, so I think I'm really grateful for that support.
Are we allowed to be nosy? What does he do, Kirstie?
He's a brand and marketing director. So he works in retail and wholesale, but on electricals.
And I guess that is also helpful to have, because that's a great sounding board for you as well on an area that for you is not where you focused in retail.
Yeah,
so actually
absolutely.
Someone helped think about that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, he was really supportive at the start. He offered lots of advice on marketing and brand, as you can imagine. So he was very, very keen to help out. So, yeah, but he's a great sounding board because, like you say, that's not necessarily our backgrounds. So I'm able to sort of bounce ideas off him and go, what do you think? And I'm not really sure about this. And yeah, it's a great support.
And how, if you think about the places you've worked, obviously being a merchandiser, but you do get very close to a product. Any products from either Albaray or Warehouse or Peruna or even M&S that you think, that was a real cracker?
Oh, we definitely had some moments, particularly, this is what's quite interesting because obviously when I was working, when I first started at M&S, I started in menswear and then latterly I went into women's wear. And then when I was at Peruna, which was an amazing experience because it was like a family-run business, but worth a huge amount of money. The turnover was incredible. So we would have, I can always remember there was a specific dress that sold in Pruna. And I mean, I can't even remember. It sold thousands and thousands and thousands. And we repeated it, all in season. And I will never forget that dress because it sticks in my head, and the ability to be able to go back and trade it and rebuy it and all of that. It was absolutely phenomenal. And what's interesting when I look at that experience with very big brand and very big volumes, and us, which is, obviously considerably smaller, but still has moments of success. We've just had an incredible, well, we've had a dress in our range from the beginning of launch, which was an animal.
Your leopard dress. I knew what you were going to say. I got your newsletter this week, which was all about that dress.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
I think I need to go and order that, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Leopard print dress, very easy to wear, but you could dress it up or down. It's kind of a day dress that could easily go out in the evening, isn't it? I mean, definitely. My eye, actually, that was a very good marketing newsletter, actually, because it made me feel like I've got to have that dress.
I'll report that back to the team. They'd be delighted.
Exactly in my mind when you were talking about the Peruna.
Yeah.
So you have got that dress, the it dress.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been amazing. And we've had it, for a number of seasons now. And every time we sit and do our range building, which is, we're looking at today, and we go, do you think there's any more life in that dress? And we go, I'm not sure. And we bring it in and it sells out and it's incredible. And we've got a waiting list for it. And, it's been amazing. And this is why I sort of talk about the two contrasts. There's sort of the Pruna very big and us sort of much smaller, but still gives you that thrill, of just, for Karen designing a dress and Paula working with the suppliers to make it happen, to getting it into our channels and then people liking it is an incredible thrill.
I don't know, you can go wrong with leopard print.
No, you can't.
It's a winner.
It's a winning dress. You could wear it with sandals. I have to say, I did really study that dress, thinking I need that dress in my life.
It's a great dress.
Talking about your three founders, you mentioned then, Paula doing design and kind of, do you have a distinct area then of the business? Is that another key component that works?
Well, yeah, I think our core skills are quite different, as I've sort of described. But ultimately, because obviously running an own business is much bigger than just buying merchandising and designing, we then obviously there are a lot of other functions that we would cross over and tend to do together as much as we possibly can, because again, three heads are better than one, So yeah, we in our day-to-day, there's very distinct roles, but there is a lot more to it. And again, working together on actually managing the business is something that we do collectively. And so I think we all know where things naturally sit within our, so if something comes up, then we go, that's definitely something for Kirstie, or Paula or Karen, but there's a lot of cross-functional working as well. And I think that's what you need, because that's where you need to support each other on some of those things.
What in setting up Albaray, I mean, there's still bits, I always like to know this, because everyone when they work, and I was just when I interview people, you've got your favourite bits. You just gravitate to us. It's a joy. And then there's always the other bits you're like, I don't get much energy from this bit, but I know we've got to do it. Well, how does that work between the three of you? And what is that for you?
Oh, there's definitely things that we don't like, that we definitely don't like doing. For me, it'll be, a lot of spreadsheets of things, because we're still quite a young business. We're not a business that's got all these amazing systems and things. So when we first launched the brand, I was doing literally allocations on an Excel spreadsheet, going, well, I'll send one there, I'll send one there, and I'll send one there. And it's a novelty at first. After about the sort of third month, I was like, I can't do this. This is just horrendous. We've probably all got those things that we don't really enjoy doing, but you have to do as part of keeping things running, So, and we've got an amazing team now. We've been able to, since the three of us started, we've grown our team to support us in the areas that we need some support, whether that's because we don't have the skill set or actually we just need more support on. And we have, we've recently opened 2 stores, so that's really exciting. So we've got store teams, some of which are with us upstairs today. So yeah, I think ultimately, you've always got to do some parts of your job that you don't really enjoy but have to be done, and we just have to do it, put up with it.
Where are the 2 stores?
Chichester and Bath. So that's our first step into our own store portfolio, which we're really excited about. So it's very early days, but we actually believe that there's a real place for stores for our customers to be able to come and touch and feel, and to really sort of understand the brand. And we've learned so much from talking to customers in those 2 stores.
Yeah,
so
I bet.
Yeah, they try it on, they tell us straight away what they don't like about it, and that's amazing insight for us. So we hope they're a success.
And what's been the best bit of advice you've had, whether setting up Albaray or across your career?
The best bit of advice, which I was very bad at listening to at times in my career, was that if you're thinking of doing something and it absolutely terrifies you, and you're really afraid that you're going to fall, that is exactly the right time that you need to take the leap and make that change. They were words that were ringing in my ears when we were talking about doing Albaray. You go through that whole piece of, can I do it? I've never set up a brand before. I don't know what I'm doing. And then, I just thought, what's the worst that can happen? Let's give it a go. And I think fronting into some of those fears are some of the things that maybe you wouldn't have faced at various times in your life. I think being able to step into that and fronting those fears and almost rationalising, well, what's the worst that can happen?
And what does success look like for Albaray if you were to look ahead?
Success for me, and I'm sure Karen Paul would do the same, is about, continuing to grow Albaray into a really sort of strong, sustainable, forward-looking brand that customers ultimately love to wear, whilst continuing to do the best we can and to be a force for good.
Lovely.
And having a bit of fun along the way.
Absolutely. Lots of celebrations with your whole team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kirstie. It was absolutely brilliant. Really wonderful and uplifting to hear actually how 3 women have worked together so successfully and collaboratively to grow what is an absolutely fantastic brand. And Rosie's going to look for the leopard print dress now. So
absolutely.
Add myself to the wait list.
And it's been a real pleasure. So thank you for making the time for us today.
And thank you so much for inviting me to come on. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.